Episode 145.
Watch out! He's actually mastered the third layer of the Great Development technique. Don't let him get away. Surround him and keep him pinned down. Once the poison in his system takes effect, even if he had the power to reach the heavens, he'll have no choice but to surrender.
With that, the burly Huang Long commanded his puppets to attack. The man and woman exchanged a glance, then unleashed over 200 puppet beasts of their own, joining the assault. Instantly, a most unconventional puppet war erupted. A chaotic storm of multicolored energy beams and light swords crisscrossed the air. Below, legions of soldier puppets and mechanical beasts clashed in brutal close-quarters combat. The sheer spectacle left Han Li watching from above, utterly dumbstruck. He hadn't fully grasped what was happening, but Han Li had already pieced together a rough idea.
That senior brother Lin, he was actually from the Tianzhu sect before he even entered Yellow Maple Valley. And he was the son of their sect leader, no less. But clearly he'd fallen from grace by then. That's why he was hiding out in Yellow Maple Valley. But now, because he still coveted the Great Development technique, the new sect leader flew into a rage and sent his former comrades to wipe him out.
Once Han Li had pieced together the whole story, he couldn't help but let out a sigh. Seeing the fierce battle raging below, he knew this was no fight for a Foundation establishment cultivator in the early stages like himself to jump into for a cheap shot. The smart move was to get out, and fast. Having grasped the stakes, Han Li immediately retracted his azure fire staff. He then poured all his power into the divine wind boat beneath his feet, which instantly transformed into a long, white rainbow that shot into the sky and vanished. Han Li's commotion was far too conspicuous to escape the notice of the four combatants below. Startled, they instinctively eased up on their attacks. None of them had expected that someone had been eavesdropping on their conversation the whole time. It seemed this person had overheard quite a few of their secrets. Seeing that Han Li had wisely fled into the distance and was not an ally of their opponent, the four exchanged a glance and, as one, threw themselves back into the fray. Han Li, flying at full speed, returned to his cave abode in short order. Upon returning, Han Li first retrieved the array jade slip Qi Xiaoyao had given him. He then focused his mind, carefully studying the usage of that set of array magic tools. Han Li decided to put everything else aside for now and focus on setting up the cave's protective formation first. After all, the sight of their fight was just a bit too close for comfort. The setup for this inverted 5 elements formation was actually quite straightforward. Simply place the formation flags and plates in their precise positions, burying some underground, arrange a few spirit stones into a small array pattern as required, and position the main spirit stone at the formation's eye to provide sufficient spiritual power for the entire structure. The grand formation will then activate immediately. And the array's master, with just a basic grasp of its simple control methods, could use the main control flag in their possession to activate the formation, shifting its patterns to trap or bewilder their foes. Han Li placed the magic tools as required, some inserted, others buried deep. Then, he gritted his teeth and slotted the mid-grade spirit stones into place. This was half of all the spirit stones he possessed, a loss that pained him for quite a while. But to ensure the formation's power wasn't diminished, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and part with them.
While I could easily trade some high-grade spirit herbs for a large sum of spirit stones at the market, doing so would also multiply the risk of being discovered, captured, and interrogated. If I'm not careful and vigilant, I could easily end up like the people I saw today, surrounded and attacked myself.
Han Li tested the array's operation, and it seemed to work quite well, but the true defensive and trapping power would only be revealed when an enemy actually invaded. But the fact that it could cover a full 10 acres around his cave abode, with no visible trace from the outside, made Han Li feel he'd gotten his money's worth. With his mind at ease, Han Li returned to his bedroom and began to consider his cultivation path.
To even have a sliver of hope of reaching the core formation stage, you'd need a top-tier cultivation method, talent that's 1 in 10,000, and immense luck, all at once. The difficulty of foundation establishment is nothing compared to that. After all, for foundation establishment, if you have good enough aptitude and 1 or 2 foundation establishment pills, the odds of success are still quite high. But for forming a golden core, even with all those conditions, the number of cultivators who succeed is vanishingly small. So, the emergence of a new core formation cultivator is almost always cause for a grand celebration within their sect or school. Word of it spreads like wildfire throughout the local cultivation world. The reason the Moonveil sect stands as the premier immortal sect in UA country isn't just because they have over 1,000 foundation establishment disciples, far outnumbering the other sects. It's also because their core formation cultivators completely overwhelm the rest, numbering more than a dozen. That alone is enough to make the other 6 sects look up to them in awe. My aptitude is a complete mess, far worse than the other foundation establishment disciples. As for techniques, all I've gotten so far is that utterly useless clear origin sword art, and I absolutely can't cultivate it. Opportunities are elusive things. It all comes down to luck. So it seems, for the moment at least, the odds are stacked against me. However, my aptitude may be atrocious, but I possess that mysterious vial that can accelerate the growth of spirit herbs. I can refine pills. That means my poor aptitude isn't something that can't be compensated for. As for luck and opportunity, those are beyond human control. There's no point dwelling on them. So now, the only path I can actively work on to increase my chances of forming a golden core is to find a top-grade cultivation technique suitable for me.
The moment the thought of finding a cultivation technique arose, Han Li's first thought was of his nominal master, Li Huayuan.
Since he accepted me as his nominal disciple, shouldn't he be teaching me some cultivation techniques by now? After all, he's already succeeded in forming his golden core. He might even be able to offer me some guidance on selecting a cultivation technique.
With that thought, Han Li decided to head to Yellow Maple Valley first thing tomorrow to inquire about his master's cave abode and seek some guidance. The man likely still didn't know he had successfully reached foundation establishment.
It's actually quite funny. Since Li Huayuan took me in, he's never summoned me once. For years, it's been as if this nominal disciple of his didn't exist. Naturally, I wouldn't go looking for him on my own. That would just make me seem too clueless. But now that I've successfully built my foundation, and I actually need to find my master, I, his disciple, have to go ask outsiders for directions? Well, this is just about the most awkward thing imaginable.
After thinking for a while, Han Li gave a bitter laugh and slowly fell asleep on the stone bed. He had no idea how long he'd been asleep when a sudden, violent tremor jolted Han Li awake.
Still caught between sleep and wakefulness, he couldn't quite grasp the situation, almost dismissing the shaking as a trick of his mind. But then, another violent tremor shook the cave, and Han Li's last vestige of drowsiness vanished without a trace.
The ground wasn't just shaking. From outside the cave came the thunderous roar of explosions. Someone had triggered his restriction and was now forcibly attacking his defensive array. Han Li took several swift strides out of the bedroom and charged straight for the cave entrance.
Outside the cave abode, a dense barrage of light swords and beams filled the air, and the sky was thick with mechanical puppets. Han Li was so shocked he nearly bit his own tongue.
What's going on? I deliberately kept my hands clean yesterday to avoid trouble, so why are they showing up at my door now? And judging by their aggressive demeanor, it doesn't seem like there's any simple misunderstanding here. Could it be that when I flew away yesterday, something was planted on me, allowing them to track me this far?
In that moment of crisis, Han Li's mind grew sharper. A dozen different strategies flashed through his thoughts in an instant.
Listen up in there. Hand over the person who fled here. Do that, and we'll leave you in peace. Sir, why go out of your way to offend our 1,000 bamboo sect? Why take on someone else's trouble?
Perhaps they saw that their fierce attacks had been completely neutralized by the inverted 5 elements array. A man's voice of admonition rang out from the air. It was Huang Long's. Han Li looked up. In the thickest cluster of puppets, a massive emerald-green bamboo plaque hung in the air. 6 or 7 people in varied attire stood upon it, with the speaker, Huang Long, at the very front. Behind them, aside from the man and woman Han Li had seen before, were 4 more men. They were all lean and wiry, and shared identical features, a rare set of quadruplets. Looks like the 1,000 Bamboo Sect's reinforcements have arrived. When Han Li heard the demand to hand someone over, he was taken aback. Puzzled, he looked toward the center of the inverted 5 elements formation. There, face down near the cave entrance, lay a motionless figure, its fate unknown.
Where else could this senior brother Lin have run off to? He just had to barge around east and west, blundering right into my cave's perimeter. Now he's brought this huge mess to my doorstep. What am I supposed to do about it?
But seeing the immense power of this damaged formation, how it could block such a ferocious assault, Han Li felt a good deal more at ease. He was no longer as panicked as he'd been at the start. So, with a slight frown, Han Li parted the array with a control flag in hand and walked toward this senior brother Lin. Han Li used both hands to flip senior brother Lin's body over and took a close look at his face. His own expression instantly turned grim, and he was left utterly speechless. Senior brother Lin's face was pitch black, with blood trickling from all 7 orifices. He had been dead for quite some time. Han Li sighed, hesitated for a moment, then reached into the man's robes to see if he could find the storage pouch containing the puppets. Han Li was now quite taken with this method of fighting where the many bully the few. But as Han Li's fingers had just lifted a corner of the man's robe, a sickly green orb of light shot out from within his chest, streaking like a meteor straight for Han Li's face. Han Li cried out, stumbling backward. But just as the light was about to touch Han Li's face, his right hand flashed with white light. It shot back in a lightning-fast grab, snatching the green light sphere and clenching it tight in his fist. The light sphere sizzled and crackled in his grip, letting out a pained groan.
Spare me, junior brother. I was forced into this by my enemies. I had no choice. If you'll just let me go, junior brother, I, Lin, swear I'll give you a heaven-shattering reward.
Han Li's mind was suddenly filled with senior brother Lin's voice, pleading for mercy and offering a substantial reward.
Were you trying to take over my body?
That is indeed the case. I was simply confused for a moment. Later, I will certainly compensate you generously for the fright I caused, junior brother. I beg you, junior brother, to be magnanimous and not hold this against your senior brother.
Han Li heard the words but said nothing in reply. His hand, still glowing with white light, kept a death grip on the other's origin soul as he lowered his head in thought. After a long moment, Han Li finally raised his head to reply.
If your origin soul had caught me off guard just now, would you have let me go? Your magic power far surpasses that of a Foundation establishment junior like me. In all likelihood, I'd just end up being devoured by you.
I can tell you a secret, give you a peerless cultivation technique.
Is your technique the great development technique of your 1,000 Bamboo Sect?